What's happening, people? It's your boy SB or Sosa Ben here, and back for another top 10 video. In today's top 10 video, we're going to be going over the top 10 boring and annoying decks to play against. Now, the fact these decks on this list are boring and annoying does not illustrate that they are boring to play. It just means that they're boring for your opponent to play against. Like, some of these decks are just flat out annoying and boring to play against, just 100%. This is my opinion, so please respect that. And without further ado, let's go straight into the top 10. Coming in at number 10, we have Monarchs, and Monarchs are just insanely boring to play against. The main reason that your opponent puts that domain down, summons a tribute summoned monster like an Aether, an Erebus, Vanity's Fiend, and just forces you to do absolutely nothing for so long until you can get rid of that. Adding on to that, we've got Stormforth at the same time. You can make some incredible play, make some amazing summons, like fucking get Crystal Wing out, a Cypherome Lord Omega, all this awesome stuff, and to be completely cockblocked by your opponent activating a Stormforth to summon an Aether to their field or an Erebus. Oh god, is it annoying. It's so boring to play against, which is why they're at number 10. Coming in at number 9, we have Yosenjus, and Yosenjus are just got to be one of the most boring decks to play against. They're not overpowered, they're just so boring. You can make some insanely amazing play and all of a sudden just have your cards just bounce back to your hand. Literally, they just do that, attack you directly, then return back to the hand again. It's so boring, and the fact is, you might be thinking, shit, yeah, it's my turn, I can now try and attack them directly. Notice that they'll probably have about 4 or 5 face-down cards on their side of the field, and 100% one of them's guaranteed to be a Mirror Force. Good luck getting past them. Number 8 goes to Dark Synchro. Dark Synchro is actually a deck that I've recently played against, and one that I seriously hate. And the main reason for it is the fact you're just waiting to lose. That is literally it. You let your opponent go first, and you'll watch your hand go from 5 to 0 within like a few minutes. It's insanely boring because the fact is you're just pretty much needing to scoop instantly. You're just going to sit there with your hand and just watch it just go from 5 to 0 with them just making some huge big board of everything, and then to end with like a shooting Stardust Quasar Dragon or whatever the fuck it's called, and just end it there. It's just like, shit, now what do? I draw a card and there's absolutely nothing I can do with it. Thank you, Dark Synchro, you've sincerely pissed me off, which is why they are at number 8. Coming in at number 7, we have Gravekeepers, and Gravekeepers is a deck that shit, in their prime they were bloody strong. Like, all Gravekeepers do was just completely cock block your graveyard altogether and just really make you want to just flip the table over. Literally all it was just, what's that? You want to use Call of the Haunted? Nope. Want to use Monster Incarnation? Nope. Want to use any card that allows you to get any card from the graveyard? Nope. I just hope you just rot in hell, because the fact is you can't do anything when you're against this deck. Huzzah. Coming in at number 6, we have Agents, and a deck that you would definitely not expecting on this list altogether. Agents have to be one of the most boring decks that you can play against for the main reason that Christia is a thing. When Christia was a thing, he was basically like your Vanity's Emptiness. He was just pretty much, I have big board, you have no board. Like, you have a Master Hyperion, a nice Synchro monster like a Stardust Dragon, which back in the day was absolutely amazing to have, and an Archlord Christia, and the fact that when it's your turn you cannot do absolutely anything unless you can get rid of that Christia was a complete disaster to come up against. So boring, and it just like forces you to sit down and do absolutely nothing. Huzzah. Coming in at number 5, we've got Chainburn, one of the most boring decks that you can possibly play against for the main reason that all it is your opponent activating spells to make you lose life points. No combat involved, no attacks, no nothing. All it is just, I'm going to set 5 cards face down. One of them could be a card that will just destroy a monster, or just one that will just let me take the life points of the attack that you did. It's just like, one of them could be a Draining Shield, a Wubaku, and then one could be a card that just makes you lose 800 life points or something like that, like a Nukazi or a Chain Strike. So boring to play against, and the only monster that you'll probably see is a Battle Fade or a Marshmallow or a Card Z. Oh god, is it boring. Coming in at number 4, we have Evil Swarm, and oh, one of my favorite decks in this current format. I love playing this deck, and the fact is, it's so boring to play against, and it's hilarious, but oh, is it a pain in the ass to actually come up against. The main reason that Ophion just sits there, it's just the whole deck is just protect the Ophion until your opponent decides to cry, or till you can just attack them directly for a good few times. Adding on to that, Ophion just allows you to completely just add infestation to your hand, which is amazing, because all you do is just put the infestation face down, and then what's that? You're trying to Regeki me? Nope, infestation just says no, I'm not affected by spell and traps anymore, which is just insanely annoying. Like, they play Darkhold, Torrential Tribute, all these cards that you would think, yes, haha, they've destroyed their field. No, they haven't. They've just activated Infestation, and I can't special summon level 5 or higher monsters. Great. That's fun. Coming in at number 3, we have Spirals, and the Spirals are just a recent deck that's came out, and arguably one of the most boring decks that I've played against. It just tilts me, which is why I actually call it the tilt deck, for the main reason that they order your cards on the top 3 cards on your side of the field in your deck, which is extremely boring, because it just can be the card that you do not want to draw. Like, imagine this: you have a Brilliant Fusion in your hand, and next turn you're forced to draw like a Garnet or like a Fairy Tale Snow or something. They're just asking you to just draw the cards you don't want to draw, which is extremely annoying. Oh, Spirals, you're new, and you're going to be even worse when your support comes out. Coming in at number 2, we have Ghost Tricks. Now, let me just go into something. If you are playing against Ghost Tricks, beware that you are going to have to sit down with your laptop or your phone next to you for 2 hours straight, because the only thing this deck does is just flips their card, your monsters face down, and their monsters face down, and you can't even target the face down monsters because their spell Ghost Trick Mansion stuff just disallows it altogether. You can attack directly and just like constantly flip your opponent's monsters face up and face down, and apart from that, that is literally it. There's nothing else to do. You're going to be sitting there for like 2 hours doing nothing. How boring is that? Like, Jesus Christ. There's literally no win condition for it. It's just waiting for your opponent to say, I quit. Damn, is it dead. Honorable mentions. One goes to Boujins. The reason why Boujins didn't hit this list was the main reason that they actually have some decent plays that they can do. And sure, Kaiser Colosseum made the deck completely boring, but at least there are a good few plays that you can do. And yeah. Anyway, next up is Gladiator Beast. Now, Gladiator Beast is on here for the main reason that it's just a very simple playstyle of I summon monster, I attack, that is it. Nothing else. Like, sure, the Gladiator Beast monsters have decent effects, but it's kind of dead, to be honest. It's really boring to play against. Next up is Noble Knights, and the reason why Noble Knights is on here is for the main reason it's similar to Boujins. It's just like, get out a good play, and that is literally it. I mean, Boujins have multiple plays. Noble Knights has like 1 or 2 good plays that you can do, and it's just rinse and repeat over and over again. I mean, I know these decks that use Kaiser Colosseum were a pain in the ass to play against, but this was even worse for the main reason that it just did nothing. Next up is Magispector. Magispector is just one of the most boring decks that you could play against, even in the current format. Before Kirin was put to 1, Kirin just like made the game just a complete terror to come up against, for the main reason it's like, get the Kirin out, bounce your monster back during your turn, and can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects, which is just absolutely 100% balanced. Thank God the card is probably going to get banned next format. Fucking hell. Next up, we've got any deck that can abuse Darklaw. This is not insulting Heroes altogether, because personally Heroes are like one of my favorite decks altogether, but any deck that can abuse Darklaw with like Mass Change 2, it will just be a complete terror and bring complete boredom to your whole duel, for the main reason that you're just sat there thinking, shit, I can't search a card because if I do, a card's going to get banished, or oh wait, I can't do any graveyard effects because if I send a card to the graveyard, it's going to get banished instead. Huzzah. Next up is Cosmo. Now, you know that saying, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee? Now, basically that's it, but Cosmos are just that in general. Like, they just constantly float. You think you've destroyed a monster, well, there's going to be another monster out in just a second. You think you've destroyed another monster, well, there's going to be another monster out in a second. Cosmo, Dark Eclipser goes to Dark Destroyer goes to Forerunner goes to Slip Rider or something underneath that. God, is it boring to face. Next up is Dragon Rulers. The amount of times that I've played against Dragon Rulers and got bored is unreal. I mean, this is arguably one of my favourite decks of all time. To come back to playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And to hear someone say all your Dragon Rulers are banned is a complete disappointment. But the only thing that happens in the deck is just putting a Super Rejuvenation down, tribute a fuck ton of monsters and a fuck ton of cards, and then draw a ton of shit afterwards. Get a big eye out, steal your monster, and that's pretty much it. Next up, we got Paleozoic, and Paleozoic in this current format is an amazing deck, but insanely boring to play against for the main reason that it's trap cards that are monsters. You play, your opponent plays their first turn of putting down traps, and then all of a sudden the next turn they become monsters, sent to the graveyard, come back from the field, from the graveyard back to the field, go back to the graveyard, come back from the graveyard to the field, rinse and repeat, go into a rank 2, and just play it from there. Now Totally Awesome's around, it makes it even more boring. Coming in at number 1, we've got Final Countdown, the biggest deck that is extremely boring, no questions. This deck is a complete stall deck. It's just, I'm going to wait for the countdown to go, and then you will lose. That is literally it. It's 20 turns of sheer boredom. Waiting, you could literally be playing a 60 card deck, and your opponent's pretty much going to be playing a 60 card deck, putting tons of face down monsters down, probably even Ojamas, all that sort of shit, just to make you cry and think, yes, come on, quit the game, or just wait and lose. It's so boring to play against, which is why they are at number 1. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more. Anyway, it's been your boy SB, and I'm signing out. Peace.